Attention here to the visual here, okay? Trump inauguration fund, Amazon, $1 million, Meta, $1 million, Google, $1 million, Microsoft, $1 million, Apple, $1 million, OpenAI, $1 million, and the list goes on. This hearing is not about making the internet a safer place for kids. It's about harassing Europeans who are trying to do something. No, it's imperfect, but they're trying something, and we sit here twiddling our thumbs. There has never been a more important time than now to create some basic rules for big tech. Our kids are more important than these billionaires and their shareholders, period. If we truly want to protect our kids, we have to push back on unrestrained corporate power and try to retain some moral clarity in this moment. You know, I spent my August traveling around my state listening to Vermonters tell me what was on their minds, and there was one constant thread, and that was fear and concern for young people, for their safety, for their future. And parents kept asking me, will my kids ever be able to afford a house in this economy? Is it going to be safe for my kid to go to school? And are my kids safe online? Over and over again. And I want to tell you about one conversation I had with a high school student in Vermont who said to me, we all know that social media on our phones is hurting us. And in some instances, it's literally killing us. And what he wanted to say is, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? And I have to ask myself the same question, because I'm a parent, I'm a former teacher, I'm now a member of Congress, and what are we actually doing to solve the problem, to stand up for our kids? And it's clear we need real attention on this. We need to focus our attention, and we do need to regulate corporations behind these problems. And we need real public oversight, yes, over the gun makers, yes, over financial speculators, but also big tech. Because polls show across the country, Americans overwhelmingly want us to take action on the harms that are hurting their kids. And yet here we are, first hearing back. We're not talking about the AI platforms that are leading kids to self-harm. We're not talking about the algorithms profiting off of teens' eating disorders. We're not working together to hold big tech accountable. No, we're here talking about how other countries are being too mean to big tech. It's gross. Professor Kay, thanks for being here. Can you briefly describe how the EU's Digital Services Act regulates social media content for children?
So the DSA is a very big piece of legislation, a big regulation, but it gets to exactly the point that you're making, which is the DSA is the result of a years-long process of democratically Europe trying to figure out what's the response to the massive power of big tech over their information environments. And so to give one example, they provide a mechanism that actually requires those companies that are considered the very largest platforms and search engines to do an assessment of the risk that they cause in the context of illegal content, which could include child sexual abuse material. That is really only doing that basic risk assessment that we should imagine all companies would do.
Exactly.
And then based on that, they're actually obligated to take mitigating measures against them. So that's one example.
Yeah, I mean, this is bare minimum stuff here, right? Mm-hmm. Bare minimum.
Yep.
Risk assessment. What are we subjecting our children to?
Correct.
And so in your assessment, does the EU prioritize protecting kids and teens from content related to suicide and self-harm?
So the DSA is not content specific, right? It doesn't require any company, for example, to take down any particular kind of content. But in the risk assessment provision, it's pretty clear, and if you read the negotiating history around the DSA as well, it's pretty clear that this is one of the key issues that concerns Europeans and thus concerned the regulation as it was adopted.
Thank you. I really appreciate you being here to balance this out. We should be looking at any country around the globe who is actually trying to do something. And no, should we copy exactly what they're doing? No, but we shouldn't stick our heads in the sand and say that, oh, there's nothing we can do here. We cannot maintain the status quo and then go back to our constituents and look these parents in the eye and say that we're actually doing our jobs. The solutions are right in front of us if we would actually do the work here in this committee.